valley. The name of the valley, as I said, Bethesda. We don't see it because of all the construction and layer and mud and floods and all of that, but naturally there is a valley here. Yofi. The valley, by the way, flows to the Kidron Valley. Somewhere in the Iron Age. Iron Age is like saying the first temple period, or if you want me to be more accurate, 8th century, 9th century BC. Kingdom of Judah, Iron Age, First Temple, whatever you want to call it. Somewhere over there, maybe Hezekiah, right? There's a tendency to always blame Hezekiah for every construction, right? Maybe Hezekiah. Maybe Uzziah. Uzziah also built a lot of things. Anyway, 8th century, 9th century BC, a reservoir was built to collect the water of the Bethesda Valley. Maybe this is the pool which is mentioned in Kings and Isaiah as the upper pool. And if you want the exact quote, we'll do it later. But in Kings and in Isaiah, there is a record, there is a place called the upper pool. And some scholars believe that this is the pool. Okay. Not 100%, but good chances. Hasmoneans did something interesting. What they did is that they built a dam and basically divided the reservoir into two different pools or two different reservoirs. Is it clear? Yes. Take a pool, build a wall in the middle, you get two pools, right? That's what they did. And the question that should be asked is why? And what was the purpose of the reservoir during the time of the Second Temple period, the Hasmoneans and later? The answer is that honestly we don't know, and there are different offers. An interesting one is that you're looking at a huge mikveh. That's an option. A mikveh.
For 15 meters deep?
For lots of people, yes, that's one option.
It should be 1 cubic meter.
That's one minimum. Friends,
minimum.
also the ocean is a mikveh. Can be. Another option is that this place was used to for drinking water for the ships which were slaughtered in the temple. Sheeps. Right? Exactly, those ones. Another option was just a reservoir. Okay, but what's important is to understand that a dam was built. I wanted to identify the dam. Here it is. You know what? I want a model. Who can be the model? Can you be the model? No? Yes. What's your name?
Jawad.
Jawad? Jawad, can you walk down?
Don't jump.
More.
Not
What? Stop.
jump.
Friends, Jawad is now standing on the dam. Now, below us, you can see. You don't see him? Okay.
Go to Jawad.
So,
Okay, now I see.
Jawad is standing on the dam and he's pointing, Jawad's point, he's pointing at the northern reservoir which was created because the dam was built. The southern is over there, we don't see it because of all the construction which I'll explain in a second. Great. This reservoir is mentioned both by Josephus and in the Gospels. So what I would like to do now is to stop for a second with the historical sequence and to read John's account about the pool. What John is telling us about the pool. So let's read John 5. Okay, Yalla, can you read?
Sure.
Yalla. Friends, quickly, John 5. Yalla, listen up. Arya is reading.
Jesus heals on the Sabbath. After this, there was a festival of the Jews, and Jesus went up to Jerusalem. Now in Jerusalem, by the sheep gate, there is a pool called...
Wait a second. Sheep gate. This is the source of the assumption that this place was,
sheep
and also of
slaughtering.
course the fact that we're 50 meters away from the temple.
Right.
So because of the distance and because of the sheep gate, there was a suggestion that this was kind of a reservoir for all the animals which were slaughtered. Yeah.
By the sheep gate, there is a pool called in Hebrew Bethesda, which has 5 porticos. In these lay many invalids, blind, lame, and paralyzed. One man was there who had been ill for 38 years. When Jesus saw him lying there and knew that he had been there for a long time, he said to him, "Do you want to be made well?" The sick man answered him, "Sir, I have no one to put me into the pool where the water is stirred up, and while I am making my way, someone else steps down ahead of me." Jesus said to him, "Stand up, take your mat, and walk." At once the man was made well, and he took up his mat and began to walk. Now that day was a Sabbath. So the Jews said to the man who had been cured, "It is the Sabbath. It is not lawful for you to carry the mat," because we're outside the walls. Okay, but he answered them,
Spoilers.
But he answered them, "The man who made me well said to me, 'Take up your mat and walk.'" They asked him, "Who is the man who said to you, 'Take it up and walk'?" Now the man who had been healed did not know who it was, for Jesus had disappeared in the crowd that was there. Later Jesus found him in the temple and said to him, "See, you have been made well. Do not sin anymore, so that nothing worse happens to you." The man went away and told the Jews that it was Jesus who had made him well. Therefore the Jews started persecuting Jesus because he was doing such a thing on the Sabbath.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
First of all, remember what I was saying? That John is a bit problematic with the fact that it is not distinguishing. It doesn't make the difference between the different groups within the Jewish community, and he is using the generic term the Jews. This is one thing. One more thing. A game that I really recommend you to play with because it's fun and nice. Ask your people, ask your tourists why the Jews or the temple people, whatever, were upset about Jesus, and the answer would be because he healed on the Sabbath. Then you need to explain them. David, where are you? And then David will give us a 1-minute lesson about
Why?
Tchum Shabbat and Iruv. Iruv, it's not Tchum Shabbat, it's Iruv. Yalla, David, go ahead.
Oh, well, see, we talked before about where you can walk on Shabbat, how far you can walk. So there's another restriction from Shabbat, which is carrying items from a private domain, my house, for example, out into the public area.
And it's 2 different things from the Tchum Shabbat,
Totally
right?
different, not connected. So one of the ways that we have to solve that problem is if you have either a wall or even if it's a string that makes the whole area into one domain, into one reshut, then it's permissible to carry items around from inside and outside. But without that wall, you're not allowed to pick up an item and carry it more than 4 amot, which is 6 or 8 feet.
Thank you so much, David. And then you can also tell, wait a second, then you can tell,
A roof.
and then you can also tell your groups something that will shock them, that around Jerusalem,
There is
a string.
That's what I wanted to say.
There is a string.
There is
People
one.
see it and they think it's like electricity, but no. And every Friday,
Yes.
you have people before Shabbat driving around Jerusalem to make sure that the string is not
Moving.
played with or whatever, because if the string is not together, it means that you cannot carry your talit or you cannot carry your keys out of the home to the synagogue, for example. All right, friends, 90% that your Christian groups have, they know nothing about that. Now, why it's relevant to this place? Because this place is
Outside the wall.
outside of the
Outside the
wall,
wall, right.
which means without looking at the map, John 5 makes no sense. You don't get John 5 without looking at the map. All right? Yofi, this is important. One more thing, it says something very weird. Where is it? Okay, now in Jerusalem, the sheep gate, there was a pool which has 5 porticos. Now, when you think of a pool, how can it be that you have 5 porticos? But then you come to Jerusalem and your guide explained to you about the dam which was built, the wall, the divider, that divided the wall, the pool into two different pools, and then it makes sense. All right, please. So what this picture is from where?
From it's from
The model.
model.
For the model of Jerusalem. And why 5 porticos? Because we have a pool, so 4, right? Like think of swimming pool, 1, 2, 3, 4, north, east, south, north, south, west, east, and you have a wall. You have in the middle a wall that creates 5 porticos. It's not that important, but it's nice to show people the
How it
connection
looks like.
between like archaeology and the text. What else? There is something a bit weird that we read about, that there was some kind of a healing rituals here, something that I have to say sounds a bit not Jewish, right?
Yeah.
So maybe this place was a bit pagan, or there was some pagan avodah zarah, pagan rituals which were involved. Some scholars suggested that that's why people were upset about Jesus, because he hung out in a place of avodah zarah, of idols, of worshiping idols. That's an option. Anyway, after the destruction of the temple, the reservoir in the days of Ilia Capitolina became a temple. It became a temple that was a temple for healing. And you can see, no, I don't have it. Anyway, some statues were found here of offerings, mainly parts of bodies, like statues of legs, statues of hands, which is very typical for Roman temples. Someone has a leg problem, he would give a statue of a leg to the temple. You can see all the small pools. Exactly. Ex votos. You can see all the small pools here. They are part of the temple. Okay? Now wait a second, it's not over yet. Jerusalem was Christianized, right? It became Christian 4th, 5th century. And then a big church was built where? Exactly on the dam. Exactly on the wall. And you can see, not this one, forget about this one, but you can see some remnants. Look at the columns. You see the crosses? And you can see the apse over there. You see the apse? You'll see? We won't go there, but just trust me that there is a mosaic floor under the roof over there. And you can see the columns. And you can also see the arch. What is the arch? The arch is basically a supporter to support the church so it won't collapse. Because look at me, the church was flying. Why? Because it was built on the pool, on the dam. So like the Temple Mount in a bit, you need to support it so it won't fall. Right? So this is the arch. The church was built by Eudokia. Have you heard about her?
Eudokia, yes.
Wonderful. What else I want to show you? Wait a second. The church was destroyed. The church was dedicated to Mary. It was called Mary's Church. And then Crusaders came and built 2 churches.
So wait, the first church was built
Eudokia, Byzantine.
and also like
Eudokia is 6th. Persian probably destroyed by the years.
She also rebuilt the
and
wall.
Crusaders Crusaders came in, and what they did is the following thing. They built 2 churches. Two? One again on the dam, but small. This one, you see? You see the apse of the church. So which church was bigger, Crusaders or Byzantine?
Byzantine.
Byzantine. Look at the edge of the Byzantine church. Look at the edge of the Crusader church. All right? So this is one. And they dedicated this one to the miracle, John 5. However, they built Crusaders. When exactly, I'm not sure. They built another church next to the pool and dedicated to the birth of Mary. There is a tradition, actually goes back to the Byzantine era, that Mary was born here. Not in the Gospels, of course, but a tradition, church fathers, church texts, that Mary, mainly Byzantine texts, that Mary was born around the temple and this place was identified. Now, unlike this church, this one is extremely preserved. Why? Because when Saladin came in, what did he do? Turn it into?
Mosque.
Not exactly. Madrasa.
Madrasa,
Right? Yeshiva, like a study place. school, Muslim school, and that's why it is very well preserved. And I don't know if you have it in the exam. Show me Crusaders building in Jerusalem.
This one.
This one, beautiful Romanesque building, very preserved. Due to the fact that it was used by the Muslims, you can even see the inscription, the dedication inscription below the arch. Anyway, 19th century, mid 19th century, the Ottomans gave it to the French. The French invited the White Fathers, which is it's a congregation of monks from Africa, to come and reside here and control the place. So as you can see, it's a French property. Every time there is a French president coming in to visit, he would come here, and every time there is the same
Anointment.
fight, he comes in with all the police and guards, and then
1 month,
he says,
before 1
"No,
month it
it's a-
happens.
It's a French property. We're in France. You can't come in." And then police, "No, we need to protect him." Blah blah blah.
Yalla, we
And
need
there's
to go,
always
we need to
always
move.
this fight.
Aviv,
What?
he's coming to kick us out.
Okay, yeah, let's go.
The